Hi, great to have your company and welcome to another episode of Great Moments from Bathurst. Planning and anticipation for the 1988 Great Race began even earlier than usual. Not only would the year mark Australia's bicentenary, it would also be the 50th anniversary of the first meeting on the Great Old Mountain Circuit. The event ushered in a new sponsor and became known as the Tooheys 1000. It was also the year that Ford broke a 7-year drought at Mount Panorama.
Good morning. Welcome to Mount Panorama at Bathurst for the Great Race. This year for the first time under the Tooheys banner, and it is going to be a great race if they can clear the decks of all the controversy that has prevailed here at Bathurst this week. Protest hearings are still going on, stewards still arguing behind closed doors, Australian officials at 10 paces with drawn pistols with the FISA officials here from France to supervise what is supposed to be an international race. It has been a real dogfight here this week. The weather, well, the weather, I tell you what, it dawned bright and clear here in Bathurst today, but it's clouding over rapidly. The forecast is not good. They're going to have rain here, cool to cold the conditions, winds bitter, about 20 knots from the west-southwest, and the forecast for showers this afternoon. There's going to be plenty of action in the Great Race, you better believe it. But let's check out who are the top qualifiers for this year's Great Race, the Tooheys 1000.
Saturday's pole qualifying has been a traditional part of the 1000 for several years, but yesterday's Tooheys top 10 was strictly for the dollars, 40,000 of them in fact. The protest entered by Tom Walkingshaw against the Sierras of Dick Johnson, Tony Longhurst and Colin Bond on Friday effectively meant the Ford boys had precious little time to ready their cars for the Tooheys shootout. Johnson's counter-protest against Walkingshaw's Holden didn't affect proceedings as Uncle Tom was well outside the top 10.
Yeah, it should have been sorted out on Tuesday and Wednesday at scrutineering when they went through. We asked them to do it of their own accord. They all can't be right. We only want to know which one's right. But there's about 7 different versions out there. 6 of them are wrong.
The top 10 soon became the Tooheys dozen as 9-time race winner Peter Brock and 86 Great Race victor Alan Grice were drafted onto the pole queue. The only driver to actually go faster than his Friday time was Sweden's Ulf Granberg in the OMS Sierra. He improved by 0.4 of a second. Peter Brock duffed his run with a sideways effort coming in for the green flag, while Alan Grice adopted a drag strip start from the escape road. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off as he finished last but 1 on the clocks. Colin Bond gave the fans something to cheer about when he got the Caltech Sierra loose and then had a massive brake lock-up at the end of Conrod Straight. Breaking into the 18s was difficult, just ask Dickie Johnson. He was nearly 3 seconds slower than his Friday best and 2/10 behind the time set by teammate Johnny Bowe. Tony Longhurst cut a near-perfect lap to be second fastest on the day in the Benson and Hedges Sierra, but was still half a second slower than Friday. Alan Moffat's ANZ Sierra team had the last laugh though, thanks to a guy called Niedzwitz, who won the big dollar blitz.
Klaus Niedzwitz from Germany in the ANZ Sierra, Alan Moffat's car. Very quick here on Thursday. Had gearbox problems yesterday, but expect a quick time from Klaus.
This is one man who had his heart set on one thing last year, and that was winning the top 10 runoff. This year, he's determined to do it.
We take race cam from Klaus Niedzwitz, ANZ Sierra, as he comes out of BP cutting and heads to the top of the mountain. Really works the car hard, but ever so smooth. As you can see. Coming down towards Skyline.
Just stay away from those ripple strips across the top there. They're more like boulders. You clip one of those and it can be disastrous, as several people have already found out. But Niedzwitz is smarter than that.
Great race cam picks there as he heads down to Forest Elbow. Wide exit there.
And is he going quick or what?
A second faster on the split time at Forest Elbow.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say Klaus might be lining up here for a fairly sizable chunk of the $40,000 prize money. He's looking good.
Checkered flag time for Klaus Needsvits in the ANZ Sierra. Across the line and a quick time.
Klaus, so far the fastest man at 2:18. Was it a good lap for you?
No, it was not a perfect lap. I missed one time the gear, so I lost maybe 1 second. And okay, I have to accept.
Let's take a look now at how the top 10 line up for today's Tooheys 1000. Pole position has gone to car number 17, the Shell Ultra High Cosworth Sierra, Dick Johnson and Neville Crichton. Position number 2, car number 28, the second of the Shell Sierras with John Bow and Rob Gravitt. Position number 3, car number 25, the Benson and Hedges Sierra of Tony Longhurst and Thomas Mezera. Position number 4, the ANZ Sierra of Alan Moffat, Greg Hansford and Klaus Needsvits. Position number 5 has gone to car number 6, Andrew Madecki and Britain, Steve Soper. Position number 6 is car number 4, the Caltech Sierra of Colin Bond and Alan Jones. Position number 7 is car number 8, another Sierra, Andrew Bagnall and Pierre Dudonnet. Position number 8, the first of the Holdens, car number 10, Perkins, Holm and Walkingshaw. Position number 9 is car number 15, Glenn Seaton, Anders Olofsson and George Fury in the Peter Jackson Nissan Skyline. And rounding out the top 10, 21, the OMS Sweden entry of Simonsen, Tulloch and Granberg. The protests may have been flying thick and fast, but all of the teams and drivers agree they're happy at least to have a race back at Mount Panorama.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
The Australian Television Network welcomes viewers around the world to the 1988 Tooheys 1000 from Mount Panorama at Bathurst. The pace car pulls into the pits, and for the first time in history, we're about to have a rolling start to Australia's great race. Dick Johnson, John Bow. Almost a perfect formation. Klaus Needsvits will go with them. Longhurst is lagging back. Let's wait for the start, and here they come. The great race is underway. The first Tooheys 1000, and it's Johnson away quickly. But look at Klaus Needsvits up here on the inside, and he will take John Bow. Very quickly up into fourth place was Tony Longhurst, and they are really sprinting at the front.
Glenn Seaton with a big problem in pit straight. The car seems to be jammed in gear by the look of it, and Seaton's right at the back of the pack. A bad start for the Peter Jackson Nissan team.
A great aerial view of Mountain Straight. Here comes Dick Johnson. Klaus Needsvits into second place. Tony Longhurst has also shuffled John Bow back one spot in the pack. Bow runs fourth in the Shell Sierras. They head up Motorcraft Hill towards the BP cutting for the first time.
Andrew Madecki just in behind the leading pack, a whole swag of Sierras. He's followed by Colin Bond. There's a car in the pits, the Yellow Pages entry, car number 3 of Peter McLeod and Jim Keogh. So they didn't get off the starting line.
Needsvits in car number 9. Then Longhurst, John Bow. They're looking for Andrew Madecki, Colin Bond. As we go through the dipper.
I'm looking for anything but a Sierra at the moment.
You'll find probably 7 or 8 of them at the head of the field.
Beautiful shot there, showing just that roller coaster effect to Conrad. There goes Needsvits, Longhurst the next one.
George Fury placed in behind the Holden, is he? Looks like Larry Perkins in front of him, so they've maintained their grid order at the moment.
Yep, 8th and 9th on the track, exactly.
There's the run coming down to Caltech's chase.
George
Fury
having a go at the Holden.
But for just about the completion of the first lap. And Dick Johnson will get a huge cheer as he comes across the line. He leads lap 1 of the Tooheys 1000 of Mount Panorama. Tricky Dicky in front, clear of Klaus Needsvits and Tony Longhurst. It's a Sierra benefit at the moment. We expected that.
Well, a disaster in the pits. It's a turbocharger problem by the looks of things, and this is one of the teams that I certainly thought would be right up there all race long. Soper and Madecki, both very evenly matched drivers, both very quick, and as you can see, disaster. There's hands all over the place, and there's no boost with the car. That's the problem.
Klaus Needsvits at McPhillamy Park, and just watching Klaus, he all looks fairly gentle at the moment. He's back to second gear through the S's. He's not working the tyres too hard. He's probably tending to just load the car up a bit under brakes and not stamp on the gas pedal.
If you've got enough eyes, just watch the road, the hands, the feet and the wheel all at the one time and just see the action.
A little bit of heel and toe back to first gear through the cutting. He's very good through these bends, but I don't think he's revving his car. No, listen to it. Let's listen. No, he's not revving the thing's head off. So that's where Dick's making the ground down the straight. Klaus is making up a bit of ground under brakes and through the turns.
We have Tom Walkinshaw coming into the pits at this very moment in car number 20. So he has problems.
I think he's got a tyre scraping on the body. They're working on the right rear of the car. The man that successfully engineered a Jaguar win at Le Mans this year, a former European touring car champion, winner at Spa. So it is in fact a tyre that's fouling on the body that's caused all the drama. It's the left side, I believe. It's where they're doing the work at the moment. This is the car, this is a brand new car. Oh, they've dropped the car, the nut's not on. Goodness me. This is the car they air freighted from the UK.
Some frantic work there.
One thing Tom Walkinshaw hates, it's sloppy pit work. He's gone out in 43.3 seconds.
Oh.
And a crook start to the race for Tom. Oh, the right-hand rear is still fouling.
Well, that's happened when they've dropped the car. Oh, shredding.
He's going to be lucky to make it around the track.
He won't. The tyre's shredding. Look at it.
Oh, goodness me. Something's collapsed at the rear of this car.
This has happened when they've dropped it off the jack.
There'll be some soul searching in that pit area bay when Tom returns to the pits, if he makes it.
Oh,
it's gone.
Goodness.
There's one tyre. He's popped one, and Tom says that's enough.
He's out of business. Well, this is an absolute tragedy for Walkinshaw, one of the absolute thorough professionals. Oh, goodness me, out Ulf Granberg. Inky Tulloch cross-ended in that car from New Zealand. So, problems with the Swedish Sierra. He was laying in 8th position. Here's the scrap for second as Tony Longhurst makes a dive on the inside to the hump in Mountain Straight. Needsvit's under pressure, and the B&H car has gone through to second. The differential in the Holden is off the clock, and so's the Getrag gearbox. Gricey won't be too happy with that, just as Paul Radisic leaves the pit lane in car number 55. Now, maybe, with our fingers crossed, we can have a word to Gricey. Alan, what's happening out there? Does the temperature bother you?
No, we knew it was going to run like that. It's been doing it all week. The problem is this beautiful aerodynamics package has slowed the car down the straight, taken air from under the car, therefore we can't get air to the gearbox cooler. That's why it's running so hot.
Is it going to be able to run for 6.5 hours at those temperatures, Alan?
Yeah, Les seems to think so, and he'd have a better idea than you or I guess. So.
Yeah. Well, you're in 8th at the moment, ahead of Larry Perkins. Thanks for talking to us. We'll come back and have a chat later on. Alan Grice.
Okay.
So Gricey continues running 8th. Oh, well, sorry about that. That cross.
Oh. I hope we weren't the cause of that. You got a problem for sure. Come in much earlier than expected. Pouring plenty of cold water on the radiator at the moment. Gee, that's bad luck, Garry.
Sure is. 15 laps in the race gone, and they weren't scheduled to be in for their first stop for at least another 15 to 20 laps.
Meanwhile, let's go to our Caltech CXT replay as we see Peter Brock coming up here on the inside.
Oh,
hearing me, that
he said, I want you to follow me across McPhillamy Crompton. I'll show you how to do it. I think I might throw that out the window. He was lucky to get through the sand there and not get bogged. Oh! How can you have a lose halfway down Conrad? It's the number 17 car. It's Johnson at the wheel. He's tapped the fence. And John Bow goes through, looks over his shoulder, can't imagine what's happened. There must be a huge problem with the rear end of the car. He's had a lose at 260 kilometres an hour. His pit was ready for him.
And he's been able to get it underway again.
He's had a puncture.
Before he went off the racetrack, he was 7.8, almost 8 seconds clear of Tony Longhurst. All of that has now evaporated.
That's the second Sierra in a couple of days to explode tyres at high speed, because it was Steve Soper who came undone yesterday in the Oxo car. Let's have a look at our Caltex replay from another angle from Seven's chopper. Here's Dick Johnson at full tilt down Conrad Straight on the extreme left-hand side of the road. The car gets all unstable, he tries to catch it, then it gets onto the grass, and once you get on the grass down there, you are history. Oh, I tell you what, he's got out of that pretty lightly, all things considered.
That's the best save of today at Mount
You reckon
Panorama.
that's not the ride of your life?
That is the ultimate ride. 17, Dick Johnson, halfway down Conrad Straight, and here he comes into the pits. Naturally, we've got it covered for you on our 7 race cam. Richard Hay is our man in the pits.
Listen to the cheers.
Well, now here's Johnson. Now you can see the rear tyre here. He's flat. He let go going down the straight. Now Neil Lowe knew about the puncture. He didn't know until we told him about the car going off down the straight. The damage looks fairly light. Johnson, though, obviously not a happy man at the moment. A bit of gentle body panel work there going on at the rear of the car. Fuel going in, and this car was expected in about another 16 laps, so it's put the schedule out of the pit stops, and that, as Neil Crompton will tell us shortly, I'm sure, will count for a lot, because no one driver is allowed to drive more than 108 laps. John Bowers in the other car, and it means they've got to work out as and when they've got to have their pit stops all over again later on. The car's down off the jacks. Back up off the jacks again.
And the other thing is you can't have an engine running in a pit stop like that.
Just a bit worried, I think, about that rear axle.
Here's another fellow who's trying to dig it out. That looks like Phil Ward.
Yeah.
There must be gold in them there hills, because everyone's been putting them into the bunkers.
It's going to take him a long time to dig it out by hand.
It's going to take an awful long time.
I guess we better reaffirm that Tony Longhurst is now the race leader. Klaus Niedzwitz is in second place, and John Bauer holding down third in the second of the Shell cars.
And I think it's time for another Caltex replay. How did the Merc get in the sand? Whoops, he's got it loose.
Oh, Wardy's really out of shape here.
Oops, almost, yes.
Almost, she went right over. Phil Ward, one of the most spectacular men at McPhillamy.
Dick Johnson heads up Motorcraft Hill. Our information is that he has already called in on the radio and told Neil Lowe, as Neil was explaining earlier, the only problem was the puncture. They've got more trouble than a puncture because they've got some violent problems with the car.
It's a vibration of some description.
Now he's up to 10th.
Well, he's driving it pretty gently over the top of the hill. He's driving it really gently.
Yeah,
she's got a big vibration, all right. So Johnson now just coming through the entrance to the pit lane. Motorcraft pit report, he's arrived. They'll crawl all over the car, but they'll be starting to look pretty favourably in the 28 car, I reckon.
Starting to look good now. John Brady, take it away.
The motor's off. It's a serious problem, obviously, because they've got it jacked up. It could be those CV joints. They've got them standing by. Neil Lowe talking to Johnson, and really quite a worrying time here for the man who was leading the race not very long ago. Johnson getting out of the car, and Lowe's still talking about problems.
I reckon that there's also half a chance they may have damaged the diff in all that, and if we get an opportunity, we might be able to show you the sort of problems that can go wrong in that area of the car. But let's just speculate for a minute what maybe has gone wrong with this car. The differential, that's the device that transmits energy to the rear wheels. The sort of things that can go wrong, you have leaking seals and the diff overheats. You can strip the pinion, which is the large gear to the right there, or strip the crown wheel. And obviously with the sort of stress and strain that's been placed on that car, that may have been damaged, which obviously then the car's going to suffer a drive problem.
Dick Johnson, pole sitter for the Tooheys 1000. Steps out of the car. He has the choice of two other machines, the 18 and the 28 car.
Well, Tom Walkinshaw's with me, and unfortunately, Tom, in for lunch early today.
Yeah, with a problem, the car got a little bit out of shape coming over Skyline, and I thought I did a puncture. We came in and changed it, but it was actually the top mount which had sheared on the car, and the back axle broke before I could get it back running to the pits again.
Tom Walkinshaw, car number 10. Larry Perkins.
And the Shell team readying themselves again for...
28's in.
Yeah, John Bowers in. So as Larry Perkins battles with Alf Costanzo and John Smith, I think it's Smithy at the wheel. The other car with John Bowers at the helm has come in probably a little early. Problems with the 28 car. 2 Shell Sierras hanging on the wall, 1 to go.
I can't believe this. Johnson with a team that was running just so superbly. The puncher that he explained earlier. Then, of course, scrubbing of the 17 car. And now here comes the second car. Johnson is not the happiest man in the book, and I would warn any of our pit reporters from going near him for a while. Alan Grice steps from the number 2 FAI insurance car. It was running 10th on the racetrack. And Tony Longhurst is now coming into the pits. That puts Klaus Niedzwitz and Alan Moffat's ANZ Ford Sierra up in front. And we promised you a very spectacular view from race cam. Here it is. This is Headicam, headlight camera, in Peter Brock's mobile BMW. I don't think we can get you any closer to the road at Mount Panorama.
How's your breakfast sitting, Doug?
It's fairly lumpy, with apologies to the Atlas motor in Bathurst. Look at this. 7 Sport gives good headlight cam.
Conrod straight. Peter Brock.
That's terrifying.
And all those Peter Brock fans, and I know there are thousands upon thousands of them out there, wondering whether or not Peter Brock has even an outside chance in this race. Let me tell you, Brocky is running position number 6 on the road.
Nobody would have imagined that he could be up this high in the field without the advantage of rain this early.
And there's Astro Boy himself, the man who picked up win number 9 at the Mountain on the rebound last year. He's 43 years of age. Let's have a look at him on our wins scorecard. Comes from Melbourne, of course, driving BMW this year. It's his 20th start in the race. He has won it 9 times. He's 3-time Australian touring car champ and made his debut here at Bathurst, 1969, running 3rd. One of our wins profile drivers in the great race, Peter Brock. That marvellous headlight camera. It really does bring the climb up the hill back into perspective, coming into BP cutting. Now, Brock can get close to these 2 cars at the top of the hill. The picture should be fantastic as they come down to the dipper.
Get close to him, he's going to eat a mark, Mike.
Coming up on the BMW. Retaking the Commodore.
This is the
Murray Carter's Netcom Nissan, Sierra, I should say. Anxious moment here. See that? Sierra picking up the back wheel. Now Murray waves him by. Listen to the gears.
He elected not to go through the sandpit that time.
That would be a terrifying ride from this angle, wouldn't it?
Now 56 Peter Brock is in 6th place in the race, and the team car that Neil Crompton will be taking over from David Parsons, that's number 57, is 11th on the road. So they're still in this race with a big chance.
Another Motorcraft pit report takes us down to the scene of the 45 car. Driver change, Armin Hana.
And just behind them is Larry Perkins, who has come in for his pit stop at the same time. So Armin Hana slams the door, and that of course puts Robbie Francevic in, and the race leader is in, Klaus Niedzwitz. We take our Motorcraft pit report. Pit bay number 1, Alan Moffat steps into the car.
Oh, it's busy down there now. Perkins in, a driver change there as well. Robbie Francevic in the 45 car is out, back on the track.
Look at this. Look at the front end of Moffat's car. We're getting a lot of smoke out of that front brake region.
And the 45 car has already gone back out on the racetrack. Gee, that was a pretty busy Motorcraft pit report. And Alan Moffat now in the number 9 car. 45 will rejoin the race, 2nd position.
Yes, Top of the Mountains provided plenty of action. Here's some more of it, captured by the Caltex replay.
A little Suzuki.
Well, even a Toyota, it's close.
Toyota, is it?
Oh, what a feeling.
He repeats the performance here. Look at this.
Mike Oliver and Mike Freeman.
Go back, you are going the wrong way.
They should have a big sign there, shouldn't they?
Well, he'd be better off keep reversing. I wouldn't go back and try and turn it. There's not much you can do about it because you've got the wheel and the tyre hanging off the outside of the car. In the meantime, though, the number 9 ANZ Sierra comes down Conrod straight towards Caltex Chase, and the man who led the race up until the pit stop is Klaus Niedzwitz, and with him, Johnny Brady.
Thanks very much, Mike. Klaus really going sensationally well up there. How's the car feeling?
Very good. I have no problems with the tyres or engine. Everything is very good. And I hope we have have no problems until the end.
Bad trouble for Peter Brock. He's in the pits in the number 56 Mobile BMW on lap 37. Coming into the entry to Caltech's chase, it appears he might have got a wheel off the circuit, has hit the ripple strip and probably ruptured the sump.
Well, someone lost a wheel or a tyre coming down Conrad Straight, and I was just sitting behind some traffic there, and the bloke in front just dodged out, and lo and behold, here's a tyre sitting on the road in front of me, and I'm doing about 250 kilometres per hour, and went straight over it. I mean, happened to split second, and it's knocked out the oil cooler, so the guys will try and bypass it, I guess, and we'll just get out there and see what happens.
There's Colin Bond in car number 4, the Caltex Sierra. But I know the pace car about to go out on the racetrack. But in the meantime, we'll pick up the incident for you. Bond beneath Tooheys Bridge and heads over the top of Mount Panorama. Let's have a look at our Caltex CXT replay. Uh-oh. Pow, straight into the concrete wall. But that gave the cameraman a fright. He's back behind all that protective meshing.
Trying to spot who it is.
Hard to pick, but I'd say...
Might be Garry Rogers.
Spectators stand on the banks and start cheering because we have the great race underway again. A green flag is out. And forget the order of the field across the line because Alan Moffat is still your race leader in car number 9. Second place being held by Tony Longhurst. The 45 Armand Hana, Robbie Francevic Sierra is running in 3rd place. Then Larry Perkins in 4th. Then the remaining Dick Johnson number 18 car back there in 5th spot. And the 6th car going through there is Colin Bond in the Caltex CXT Sierra.
There's the 16 car, the Starion, Gary Scott, and the Japanese driver Nakaya in 7th position on the track. A very commendable effort, you know.
They did well here last year. They did well the year before. Very, very confident they could put up a bold showing here at Mount Panorama, coming up behind Stewart in the 44 Caltex car.
Very nice to welcome to Bathurst and to the great race once again. Neville Hay from the UK. Well, you saw plenty of Dick Johnson at Silverstone, Neville. In fact, you probably saw more of him there than we've seen of him here today.
We sure did. He really surprised everybody, I think, in the way that he went when he came over to Silverstone, and he led that race very, very easily. And now we're seeing a bit of excitement now because that sole surviving car of the Johnson team has got right behind Alan Moffat. And I remember earlier on this year meeting Alan Moffat at Monza when he actually went along to buy that car. And I think he bought it with one aim in mind, this race.
Absolutely.
Well, he hasn't stretched the car. He's driven it very conservatively when he's driven it in Australia. And he's driven it fairly conservatively here at Bathurst today too, Neville. And it's paid off. While the frantic pace early has accounted for a good many of the fancied Sierras, Moffat's out there circulating very strongly with, and I hope I'm not putting the mockers on him here, no hint of a problem. And I know a lot of people who've supported Moffat over the years, even though he's still seen in motorsport circles as the bad guy. Will be very pleased to have him back and doing so well. It's Jimmy Richards in what was the Parsons Crompton car after they swapped because of the oil cooler problems. Have we cleared that one up?
If you're confused, you. 7th spot they were in, so the other car had slipped back to 30th place, and this car is not going anywhere. Robbie Francevic, we've seen racing here in Australia previous seasons. I haven't seen him for a while, but it is good to see him back because he's quite a character.
Made his name out here in the turbocharged Volvo.
Yeah, that's right. People couldn't believe that a Volvo could fly quite as fast as it did, but Robbie Francevic certainly made it move. Now driving a Sierra. He's a Kiwi, of course, but he's a good bloke.
From the land of the wrong white crowd.
His 4th start here at Bathurst, former Australian Touring Car Championship winner in Volvo and winner of the Wellington 500 in 1985. And he's one of those guys that adds just an enormous amount of colour to the racing scene. Controversial, not afraid to say what he means.
Car number 18 into the pits at the same time. In comes Alan Moffat, steps out of the car.
Dickie Johnson definitely getting back in to the 18 car for the afternoon session.
Yes, we're covering both of these for you. There's Dick back at the wheel. Their 3rd car, the surviving car, being helped to strap into the car.
There's Longhurst in behind Diggy now.
Yeah, I'd say Longhurst has stepped out of the car and will hand over to Tomas Mezera. Young Tomas has been in England this year. Went there last year, actually. But
look at this.
Frank Gardner has a lot of respect for young Tomas Mezera. Dick Johnson started here with 3 cars. 2 down, 1 to go. Some electrical problem.
Not a happy little Vegemite at this juncture.
No, and good reason. There's Tomas Mezera. Last minute word from Tony Longhurst. Car number 25 rejoins the race, running in 3rd position.
Oh, there's our car. There's our 10th place car, and he's into the wall.
Ray Lintott, who's just taken over the Everlast car, and it certainly won't.
It's the old story of going out on new tyres and going too quickly too soon.
Before they heat up.
Yep.
Let's go to Neil Crompton, and let's take us round a lap of Mount Panorama, Neil, with this unbelievable headlight cam.
I'd be happy to do that for you, Wilco. See if you can tee up Rocky for a have a chat. I want to talk to him about the car.
Hello, Crompton.
I can't hear whoever it is, but
it's Brocky.
Rocky?
Yeah.
G'day, buddy. How are you?
Very good, Crompton.
Mate, this car's sensational. Where's it been all weekend?
Now, you weren't quite close enough
Mate,
that
we're
curve
having a bit
there.
of a go here.
8-3 along here in 4th.
No, I got to 5th, Rocky.
Oh, come on.
No, I think this must be 2nd. I don't know.
It is 2nd.
If it feels right, do it.
Yeah. Up to 3rd gear down here. Okay, let it drift in here, just under trailing throttle, on with the brakes, in close, sees the apex now. Yeah, good. You're not doing too bad there, Crompton, actually. I'm impressed.
Brocky, Doug Mulray, mate.
God, Doug Mulray, one of the aficionados of motorsport.
Mate, I think you're being kind. I've been watching Crompton. I reckon he still thinks Apex is a club.
I can't concentrate.
And Mulray, of course, now being the proud possessor of a CAMS licence. How'd you get it, Doug?
Graft and corruption, Brocky, like I get everything else.
We shouldn't be talking with poor old Crompton here. I'm going to hop back in this car very soon. And Crompton, I've got to tell you, I need my helmet back.
I don't know what you guys are doing, but I bet it's not to my advantage.
Thanks, mate.
Crompton's giving me a bad reputation out there, I think.
So Hana in car number 45 has now moved to 2nd on the road. Tony Longhurst is 3rd.
Now, this is the car that's leading the class 1600 up to 2500 cc's. That's the category, of course, which encompasses the Peter Brock BMWs. This 53 BMW is driven by Trevor Crow and Peter Jansen. He's always got to get on the act, hasn't he?
Yep.
Now, he is a real once-a-year racer and somehow manages to flum a drive at Bathurst.
I think it's the old captain.
It's the captain at the wheel at the moment, yep. And, of course, he's turned on some spectacular displays here in years gone past.
There's Tom Millard.
I think he's going to get into this number 10 car shortly, next time it comes back in.
He's actually cracked it for a smile. And I guess with 9-time winner Peter Brock not looking like he can climb back up off the cement here today to win the race, and bad luck for Dick Johnson. Perkins still very competitive, so too is Armin Hana. But it's been a long time between wins at Mount Panorama for Alan Moffat.
Sure has, but he's lining up and looking pretty good at this stage, and no protest against his car either.
No, that's quite amazing, actually. It was one of the few cars not protested during the week. But after the problems of last year that were faced with Rudy Eggenberger, 2 cars eliminated for some coachwork irregularities, I think this would be the last car that Rudy Eggenberger would want to see with any sort of protest about.
BP race cam shows us Klaus Niedzwitz at the wheel of the ANZ Sierra. Left-hand drive. And the gear change quicker than you can blink.
Great picks from our BP race cam. Big weekend for BP, launching their new Visco motor oil here at Mount Panorama with a huge campaign. To the left-hander, Hit straight. And as Neil Crompton pointed out earlier this morning, Klaus is very, very easy on this car. He's very, very fast, but just so easy on the equipment. And Tom Walkinshaw now jumping into the Holden Special Vehicles number 10 car, cross-entered with Larry Perkins and Denny Holm. As we go back to the pits, courtesy of Motorcraft, 10 was in 4th spot on the road and was only 5.94 seconds behind Tony Longhurst, who was running 3rd with that car. And there we have Klaus Niedzwitz stepping out of the number 9 ANZ Sierra. The word we had was that Greg Hansford would step in. As Klaus, he's done everything that was asked of him today. Rudy Eggenberger has done the same. Pad change, one of the Eggenberger teamsters in here. And ready to put the wheel back on. They're already holding a 2-lap break over Tony Longhurst in 25, so they can afford the luxury of an extended pit stop to make sure everything is just super smooth for the run to the flag. If the car starts, yes it has. So Greg Hansford finally gets a chance in the Tooheys 1000 with a team that has everything going for a win.
It's Finnegan.
Finnegan and Kenny Matthews. That looks like little Ken, actually.
I noticed as we go back to Walkinshaw that they're wheeling the mobile BMW away. The last of the mobile BMWs is going to bed.
That really is a pity. Wins star profile drivers. Tom Walkinshaw, 40 years of age, lives in England. I thought he owned it. Driving a Commodore, winner of the Spa 24-hour Classic in 77, 84. Winner of the Enduro title 84, Bathurst debut in 84, and 3rd at Bathurst in 85. Tommy Walkinshaw, he's in the Commodore, and they have a chance of a top 3 finish here at Mount Panorama today. There's Greg Hansford of Queensland, 3rd driver in the ANZ lineup for this weekend. Klaus Niedzwitz has done his stints. Moffat has had a run and kept the pace up of the car. The front of the pack, let it throw out, and now Greg Hansford's time. Dickie Johnson.
What a hellish day for Dick Johnson.
Andrew Madecki, Steve Soper, disconsolate, standing by the car, going nowhere. They've had more pit stops than you could point a stick at.
But we have some major problems with the Whittaker Peanut car. There's Armin Hanna, who has done so well.
Very brittle, this car.
Yeah. Robbie Francevic there. They're talking about the vehicle. It looks like it is done for the day. Troubles, by the look of it, for
Garry Wilmington, isn't it?
50, Garry Wilmington.
Yeah.
And Leeson in their Commodore.
There's
they've got a tyre, actually.
Should have stuck with the Jag, Dougie.
Yeah. They're dropping out faster than Queensland Police at the Fitzgerald inquiry here at the moment. Look at that. It's a long way back to the pits when you've got a rear wheel like that on.
And it was running 12th. So they're going to try and get back to the pits.
Look at the grunt of Tony Longhurst's car as he makes his way up Mountain Straight and goes comfortably by Greg Hansford.
He's unlapped himself there. So he's now on the same lap as the ANZ car.
So all he needs is an accident in the pace car and he's looking good.
Could well be quite a fight to the finish. So Walkinshaw in car 10 now, making his way down to left-hander at Forest Elbow with John Harvey behind him. John Bow in the foreground, then Colin Bond, and then the fuel-injected V8 Commodore of Walkinshaw. Greg Hansford to the pits. This is significant. This is the race leader, a scheduled stop.
Stopwatches are
and
going.
So keep a very close eye on where Tony Longhurst is. This is probably the most important stop of the race. And I got an unconfirmed report before that Tomas Mezera has to go back in the 25 car to do 20 laps. So
this is a problem.
Yeah, they got drama. So Tony Longhurst must be about coming off the mountain now.
That looks very much like a cylinder head gasket to me.
And Longhurst has gone through to the lead. So, minute and 45 seconds in the pits, and an unconfirmed report up here that there's oil floating around in the water of this car, and if that's the case, she's got big problems.
I think Rudy has waved it away.
The car is kaput. Yeah?
The team not too happy about it. Well, that will give the lead, as we said, to Tony Longhurst and the Benson and Hedges Ford Sierra. moving second placed number 10 car, the Tom Walkinshaw, Larry Perkins, Denny Holden into second, and Dick Johnson, John Bow up into third. Down in the pits, John Brady with Alan Moffat.
Alan, it must be heartbreaking. What's the problem?
Apparently it got a vapor lock, running cold behind the pace car. Rudy feels that it got very cold, and then as Greg accelerated, perhaps a little bit too quickly, who's to say, it developed a vapor lock and just overheated instantly. Greg said it came down at the end of the straight, had a flutter, and that was it.
There's no hope for it?
No, I would say it's lost a head guessing.
Yeah, I think Alan Moffat has said it all.
This is now the most important stop. Motorcraft pit report, Larry Perkins standing by. Tom Walkinshaw getting out. His car in second place on the same lap as Tony Longhurst and Thomas Mezera. That car still to stop.
Tom Walkinshaw helping Larry with the belts.
All looks and sounds pretty good at the moment.
In the meantime, another Queenslander, Tony Longhurst in the Benson and Hedges car with some great driving from Thomas Mezera earlier today. Still lead the Tooheys 1000. Larry Perkins runs second in the Holden, and in third place, the Dick Johnson, John Bow, Shell Sierra. Now they've got problems here with the 10 car. Looks like it's all over for the Holden Special Vehicles team.
What's the problem, John Brady?
Well, at this stage, they don't know. I just talked to Andy Morrison, the crew manager here, the team manager. He has no idea of what the problem is.
Larry's taking it rather philosophically. He had the helmet off even before he arrived on pit road, so it was all over, whatever it was. And Longhurst headed for his pit bay at the moment. Here he comes. Yes, Tony is stepping out. Thomas Mezera will go back into the car. They've got all the time on their side because the number 10 car was only a lap down on it.
And as you said before, John Bow, there he is, may still well team up with Dick Johnson and could still pull off a win. And Dick is standing by in pit lane. JB has a look across at his pit bay.
A top 3 finish would be an enormous result. And they're in, the Caltex cars are in 3rd and 5th position. So Bond is another one who's gone through an awfully painful period of development with the Sierras. Just when everything looked to be firing, there was a failure. Some gear turbos they had a lot of trouble with. Getting tyres just right was another one, suspensions. But it's all come together here at Mount Panorama. 2 cars in the top 5.
So close and yet so far for Dick Johnson, but you can't take it away from Frank Gardner and Tony Longhurst, Thomas Mezera. Frank's persevered longer and harder for this race than just about anybody else. And Dick's had one taste of victory, and so far Tony has yet to get a score on the board. Oh, some frantic pad work. It's all a bit ugly, isn't it? Is that Les Small? Yeah. This would be a tremendous career result for Thomas. If you cast your mind back, Garry and Mike, to his Formula Ford run in Australia a couple of seasons ago, you could not touch this guy in that class. He was brilliant, and he's tried so very hard to make a name for himself in Europe. He's running in British Formula 3 alongside the likes of Garry Rabbit. Around goes the lusty Commodore.
It's done it.
And he's dropped some, well, what's he dropped there? Water? She's had the, the thing must have let go and it sprayed rubbish all over the rear tyres.
Mezera very wisely just ducked briefly down to the escape road to avoid any possible collision. Smart thinking.
Keep it all crossed, Tony. It's looking good for you at the moment.
He's got the winning grin.
As the last lap board comes out, the race has been going now for 7 hours and 1 minute.
But who's counting?
A heck of a day.
Wait for the reaction. The Thomas Mezera, Tony Longhurst and Frank Gardner. Fans on top of Mount Panorama, saluting them. Down to Forest Elbow. Final time. Officials and the fans up there acknowledge Thomas Mezera as he powers out of there. Heads down Conrod Straight for the final time. For the 1988 Tooheys 1000 at Mount Panorama at Bathurst, congratulations to Thomas Mezera, the great race winner in our bicentennial year. Frank Gardner has finally cracked it, and so too has Tony Longhurst, and they deserve it. Yes.
Dickie Johnson in second place, car number 18, after a great drive with John Bowe. And third place is going to go to car number 4 with Alan Jones at the wheel, the Colin Bond Caltex Racing Ford Sierra.
The champagne is spraying, the crowd love it.
And so the very professional Queenslander Tony Longhurst captured a much-needed win for Ford and its long-suffering fans. Hope you enjoyed our program. See you next week for more great moments from Bathurst. Bye for now.